Wow. Maybe I shouldn't be dating such an older man. I should be repulsed.
If you're hearing our voices, it means it's time for It's This Meets That podcast. We watch the worst movies from trailer to end credits, scene by scene, so you don't have to, but maybe you should. I'm Russ.
I'm Jared.
So if you've been paying attention to us at all,
Unrelated opening quote.
a lot of ageism going on in this movie I don't appreciate.
Just like our lives.
Yes, just like you.
I always said that Twilight New Moon is about us.
So here we are, part one, inevitably.
Yep.
Part one of our intense breakdown of the Twilight Saga New Moon, which is the second movie in the 5-movie franchise, because it is one of the two in the 5 movies that is less than 30%. So we skipped the first one.
Yep.
We will be doing Breaking Dawn part 1 at some point, but 2022. So
I can't wait until we end on the cliffhanger. I don't remember who I was talking to like 2 days ago. I was like, "Oh, we're recording Twilight this week," and they're like, "Oh, you're gonna do all of them?" And I was like, "Nope, just two, just two random ones in the middle."
Any movie in a series by itself should tell a story. So we're gonna find out.
Sure, yeah, I agree. Every movie should be entertaining on its own. I do agree with that.
Right? Is that not how it should work? So
yeah, and I think you'll be a good because I've seen them all. So like you'll be a good barometer for, do these two hold up outside of the series?
Yeah, I haven't seen any of them other than just the knowing all about them because of, the world.
Society, right?
Society and, how it works. Mm-hmm. Do you want to give a quick, summary of this one?
Yeah, sure. At least I think now that you at least know who the characters are, it probably makes more sense now than the trailer trash did. But
yeah, but I already knew all these characters are in this log line, so I knew who they were.
I guess that's fair. Yeah, that's true. They are the notable characters. Yeah. So Edward leaves Bella after an attack that nearly claimed her life. And in her depression, she falls into yet another difficult relationship, this time with her close friend, Jacob Black.
These things happen.
Yeah, happens to the best of us.
Happens to the humanest of us. So expectations from the trailer. I don't know if should we even do the expectations. Yeah, let's do the expectations from the trailer. Would you?
Well, yeah, because you had never seen a Twilight movie until you watched this. What did you think? Did it live up to the hype of not being good?
Yeah. Yes, and it felt exactly like I expected it to be. I mean, like a movie and series like this big, you can't not know anything about it going in. Yeah. If you weren't there for day one, I obviously haven't read any of the books or anything like that. So
no,
it all played out the way I thought it would. And it's the only thing now, even this day, because I was expecting this to be, it's kind of the spoilers, but it definitely doesn't stand on its own as a movie. It's just flipping a page to the next chapter, which I think is literally the tagline. The next chapter begins. And it's like, okay, cool. Yeah. So.
Faye had a funny idea. She said that the more I thought about it afterwards, I was like, oh, we should have done that for like a Patreon thing. It was basically you read like a summary of the movie and I would read the spark notes from the book and then do like a little mini episode about,
that's pretty good.
Comparing the book and the movie. Since you hadn't seen it and I hadn't read it. Anyway.
I think I also, my predictions from the trailer trash, I kind of went off the rails to start with. I was like, oh, maybe she's pregnant or something like that. But I was like, that's that's a little touchy subject matter considering they're in high school. Well, she's in high school. Right. Well, whatever. I don't,
they're both in high school.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Edward is 17 in case you forgot.
And 109. So we'll figure it all out. Mm-hmm. We'll figure out that math later. But I think I started kind of reeling it in a bit. But I don't remember what I said. So whatever.
Well, you said so, and I said I kind of teased that somebody might die, but I forgot it's not this movie that happens. Yeah.
And I think I went with the someone's going to die and have to sacrifice himself for the other person. Yeah. That doesn't happen.
No. Nope.
Nope.
Almost nothing happens, actually.
Yeah, nothing. Okay, cool. So quick info for this one. So it's directed by Chris Weitz, who done a handful of things. I think most of the stuff he's directed actually were bestseller book kind of things.
Oh, really? Like, wait, what else? I expect you to speak knowledgeably about these things. When
I know when I say something like that.
Yeah.
I was going to just gloss over and move on.
Nope, I won't let you. This is going to be a 6-hour episode.
Yep.
Whether you like it or not.
Oh, really?
American Pie?
Wait, what?
Oh, he's a producer, executive producer, and regular producer on American Pie.
Well, he's
I like
uncredited.
that.
No, director. He's uncredited director.
Yeah. Wait. What's an uncredited director?
That's a great question. Someone who just comes in. Maybe he came in and like kind of finished it up or something at the end. Maybe it only has 8 credits under his belt, but he has done another big novel series, The Golden Compass. He did that movie, 2007.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't see that.
Other fun facts: he apparently did the screenplay for Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
Weird.
Which I thought that was like 5-6 other people, but I guess he's the one who's listed for this. Yeah, I was gonna say there was like a handful of people on that, but he was one of them who was on it. So
yeah, that's weird. Good to know though.
Yes.
Wait, so he's like a real guy. Like
yeah,
like I shouldn't blame this on him.
No. Well, I mean,
he's done things we like.
I mean, I think you blame the source material too, maybe a little bit, but
follow-up question. Do all the Twilight movies have different directors? Do we know?
So all the Twilight movies do have different directors. So the first one was directed by Catherine Hardwicke, who was supposed to do part 2.
Okay.
But there was like scheduling problems, so she couldn't do it. So Chris Weitz came in and he was the one who kind of filled in.
Interesting.
And then David Slade did the third one, Eclipse. And then the other one we're going to watch was done by Bill Condon. He did part 1 and part 2, I assume, because they probably made them at the same time. So.
Why does that sound familiar to me? Who's Bill Condon?
He did, I don't know. Why are we even talking about him? It's not his movie.
No, but yeah. But we're going to do Bill Condon. We're just paying it forward to the listeners. We had to sit through Twilight New Moon. I know there's some of you out there that have been looking forward to us doing this. You know, you're welcome. You made us sit through 2 hours and change of this movie. It's going to be a long episode.
Yes, our listeners made us do this.
Well, maybe not. No. We're giving the people what they want.
So that's a long conversation about directors.
Yeah, burn through the actors here, the screenwriters.
We're gonna cruise this. So, Screenwriters is written by Melissa Rosenberg, she did all 5 movies, and then she's done a bunch of TV before this. She's been around for a long time, like early 90s. She did Party of 5, Ally McBeal, The OC, wrote a bunch of episodes for those shows. Yeah.
But I'll let you know a secret here. Stephanie Meyer is like Melissa Rosenberg is Stephanie Meyer's pen name for screenplays.
That's not true.
Of course not. But how funny would that be?
It's like I did some homework and I see what they look like. Unless they do like
I know. Now I'm just messing with you.
Damn you. And of course, it's based on all by Stephanie Meyer, all 5 of them. Actors. So we got Kay Stu as Bella, Robert Pattinson as Edward, Taylor Lautner as Jacob the werewolf, Michael Sheen, who plays Aro, the great Aro, the Volteri. You think he's going to be I guess he's kind of the bad guy in this, but I don't know.
He's definitely the bad guy. Yeah. Related to
is,
Charlie?
He does nothing.
Is he related to Charlie?
No, I don't think there's any relation.
Okay.
And then there's Anna Kendrick playing Jessica, human best friend, and then Ashley Greene, who plays Alice Cullen, Edward's sister, who plays vampire friend.
Which Anna Kendrick is in this movie for maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah. But I mean, no one else I think is notable, I don't think, right?
No. Yeah, that's all the famous people. What is Taylor Lautner in anything else besides Twilight? I feel like the rest of the crew has gone on to do something or other. And I was thinking about it more, and I was like, I don't remember. I think I saw Taylor Lautner in one of those other like teen movies, like whatever, like one of those like post-apocalyptic kind of ones. But I'm probably wrong. I'm definitely wrong.
He hasn't really done much, to be honest. He was in like Cheaper by the Dozen 2, bunch of TV stuff before this. This has been pretty much it. Abduction, I think that was like Abduction was his like big, like I think trying to break him out to being a star, like leading man action guy. But
what's Abduction about? I've never even heard of that.
You are just all about derailing us on probably one of our longest episodes ever.
Yes, this is what we do.
Yeah, Alfred Molina. Abduction. Young man sets out to uncover the truth about his life after finding his baby photo on a missing person's website. What?
Oh,
what?
That sounds kind of interesting, actually.
This might be a good one for us.
Yeah, it might be. I don't know. That's what I was like, Taylor Lautner is, I feel like, the only guy I don't know anything about. Like everyone else in this movie, I know at least one other thing that they've done, you know?
But
or they're unknown.
We are definitely doing Abduction.
Perfect. Great. We'll talk more Taylor Lautner later then.
Yeah, but other than that, I think he was supposed to take off, but he didn't because he's not a good actor. So there you go.
Oh, wait, using Grown Ups 3?
Grown Ups 2, yeah.
Okay. Either way, you hate to see a Grown Up sequel.
You don't want to be there. That's not where you want to be.
No. Give me some production budget info. Skip ahead here.
Okay. It's production. So worldwide, this movie made basically 700 million.
Yeah, which I did the pre-math for us a little bit here. Dude, it's 186,000 fanatics. So much. So many fanatics.
And there are so many fanatics about this. Estimated video sales, it did 200 million, 210 million.
So now, worldwide box office doesn't include any of that. So this movie almost cleared $1 billion. Yep. Almost.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yep.
Wild. Like, think about all the rest of them.
Yes.
Like, there's 4 other ones.
Yes. This movie made like stupid money. This is stupid money. This is go fuck yourself money. And are you ready for on a production? But go ahead. What are you gonna say? I
was gonna say, like, can you imagine if Taylor Lautner was smart enough to like negotiate a percentage?
Probably not.
Definitely not.
I'm sure he still did okay.
Yeah, I'm sure he made a few $1 million, but like he could, if he pulled a Keanu Reeves or a Jim Carrey there, really could have.
I did some reading. I think only Kristen Stewart and Pattinson were the only 2 that renegotiated for their contracts for like the last few movies, and they started making in the millions. Yeah. No one in here was like really known when this movie came out. Like, yeah, Kristen Stewart's been around, but she wasn't in anything like notable.
But after,
like, she wasn't
after the first one. The first one came out already. Like,
but I think they locked them in for like a couple of them, and then I think they had like the last 2 they renegotiated or something. But
so smart on the studio.
That's how you do it, man. It's all about contracts. Lock people in. They're like, oh yeah, I want to be part of a movie series until it starts making a ton of money, and you're like, well,
let's rethink this. Yeah. Yeah. That I'd be sad if Taylor Lautner ended up making like 50 grand from these movies.
I'm sure he's still doing fine.
No, but still, like, come on. When I think of us and I think of It's This Meets That, I like to think I'm the Jacob to your Edward.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll buy that.
I've got a soft spot for Taylor Lautner, and
and I don't drive a Volvo.
Right. I used to drive a Volvo. Maybe I'm Edward. Anyway.
No, I've got to be you, right? Because I'm 109 years old. So
yes. I didn't say it,
but you were thinking it.
Well, yeah.
So all that, almost $1 billion production budget. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
$50 million.
Oof. Sweet profit.
Pour it on. That's poured on profit. That's just.
You'd love to see it. I mean, that's like, it's not like Paranormal Activity level of profit, but it's pretty close.
Yeah, that's a pretty good return right there. That's yeah. So. Yeah.
What I wonder. I mean, we'll get to it when we get to the later ones. But I wonder, like, did they start pouring the bucks on the production? Like, you can definitely tell. Even this one is better. Yeah, it's better produced than the first one. Like, the first one took off, and they were like, "Oh shit, people like this. Mm-hmm. Maybe we can spend a little bit of bucks on the CG this time."
Yep.
And then they do get progressively better quality, objective quality. But
yeah, I mean, it's not like it's like poorly shot. Like, it's not a bad movie. I mean, there's definitely some debatably bad CG, but it's like in 2009 CG, I guess, right?
Yeah,
like,
the CG is really not that bad. It's more the writing is just what does it in.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's that.
I like it. Yeah, it's the writing and the story.
That's usually what it always is.
It's the premise of the movie that does it in. It's not.
Yeah, it's not the money. It's just everything else.
Yeah, it's just everything about it.
Whereas other movies we do, it's usually all of that plus the execution. This is more just all the pre stuff.
Yes,
like the story, the writing.
Yeah.
The acting.
Yep.
All right.
You hate to see it. Okay.
Hollywood pitch. What do you got?
I went for a 3-way. I know it's rare.
Special occasions.
Special occasions call for special pitches. So there's a little bit of simplicity here and a little bit of wishful thinking. I'm thinking it's Romeo and Juliet, 1996.
Yep.
Meets I Am Legend, meets The Godfather Part 3. Now, hear me out. Romeo and Juliet.
Always do.
Yeah, you always do. You always lend me an ear. I appreciate that. Romeo and Juliet's a no-brainer, right? Like, they really laid it on thick in this particular movie.
Real thick.
Star-crossed lovers. That's the name of the game here, right? There are lines of dialogue ripped from Romeo and Juliet and put into this movie. So the reason why I specified 1996 Romeo and Juliet, which is my favorite, I think, version of Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, the Leonardo DiCaprio, Claire Danes one.
Yep. You know how much I love Leo, for
Saw
one.
that. You know how much I kind of like him.
And they did like a modern interpretation, right? So this, you could say this is a modern reinterpretation of Romeo and Juliet, star-crossed lovers. There's a lot of suicide talk.
But nothing, no one actually ends up dying. So.
Nope. Trigger warning for our listeners. A lot of suicide talk in general in this movie, and in Romeo and Juliet also. In Romeo and Juliet, they do it. Which I appreciate. That at least like something happens in that movie. At the end, Leo poisons himself and Claire Danes shoots herself in the face. Right? No. No. Sorry. No, that's the mom.
That's a different movie.
Yes. Nope. Same movie.
A lot of poisoning. I think.
No. Claire Danes does shoot herself in the face.
Oh, is it? Yeah. I don't remember.
Yeah. No. I just looked it up on Wikipedia right quick. I was right.
Because she wakes up at the end and he's poisoned himself and he's like, oh,
yep.
Oh, no, I thought you were dead.
And she grabs his Glock.
Right, because this is 1996.
My favorite Romeo and Juliet, where everyone's wearing Hawaiian shirts and shooting each other. Anyway, I'm spending too much time on Romeo and Juliet. That's one's easy, right?
Yeah.
Meets I Am Legend. So obviously we've got the vampire connection, but think of it's like a reverse I Am Legend, right? And if you stay truer to the book, I don't think this is the first time I've done I Am Legend for the Hollywood Pitch.
It's definitely not, because I'm like, oh man, I've heard this before.
Yep, exactly. And you remember that I told you the book is very different. And in the book, and also in like the director's cut ending or whatever for the movie version, the main villain vampire here that's threatening Will Smith has a lover, has a wife that he's like,
right.
That's what he's upset about the whole time. Very much how this movie is and will continue in the future is like Edward is pissed about his soon to be vampire wife.
Okay. All right.
Right. Okay. Meets The Godfather 3 because one, it's a poorly received sequel.
True. Fact.
Right. Poorly received sequel. There's it's kind of a this one doesn't really match up. It's kind of the Godfather Part 3, for those of you listeners who haven't seen it, is kind of a rehashing of the first one to a degree. There's elements of whatever, but it basically ends with the same kind of thing. There's a big execution scene with the getting revenge on whoever. And this Twilight movie sets up that kind of premise for the future. Like there are warring factions, warring families, some would say. A lot of vengeance going on. It's frustrating, and it's not good.
Okay, yeah, that's
just like this movie.
Wow, there's a lot to unpack there. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, there was something else that made it seem like The Godfather Part 3 to me, but it doesn't matter. I've done enough. And they take place in Italy. It takes place in Italy, parts of it.
Okay. We'll sneak that one in there. Okay. All right.
Nobody assassinates the Pope in this one.
Godfather Part 3. Jesus.
They could have assassinated the Pope, and I would have loved it in this movie. That would have turned this movie around. Go anyway. What do you got?
Okay. Yeah. I'm going with all right. So I'm going with It's Underworld, 2003, Kate Beckinsale, actioner meets The Days of Our Lives.
Yeah, this seems like a no-brainer, but explain it to me.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be pretty quick here. So Underworld, obviously, we got some werewolves and vampires fighting in that one. We also have a vampire hunter falling in love with a human. Not that Edward's a vampire hunter in this movie, but
right. But is that the premise of Underworld? I didn't realize it was a werewolf vampire. Oh, they're called lichen or whatever, right?
Something
lycanthrope.
So.
Yeah. Okay. Now I'm remembering.
And then another tie into that one is that Michael Sheen, who is the villain vampire Volcry here.
Volturi, yep.
Volturi is also in Underworld as the main villain. He's one of the lichens. He's the main lichen guy.
Oh, interesting. So he's got a reverso.
Yeah, right. A little flip the old sides there.
Yeah. I still shout out to Thais. Underworld's like one of her favorite movies, and I still haven't watched it, but one of these days we'll.
It's been a while. It's not bad. then they made like 1 million of them. So obviously it's doing well enough. And it meets Days of Our Lives because this is pretty much a soap opera and there's a lot of love triangles going on. And in soap operas, nothing really happens. It's just cliffhangers to the next episode, which is how this movie felt.
Yeah. And there's too much.
And yeah, there's too much, and the acting is usually bad. And this feels like the acting is kind of.
Oh, dude, yeah, you're lucky you missed the first one because it's way worse. Like Kristen Stewart, I guess when you said that Kristen Stewart wasn't really famous before this, I forgot that because she's like not the worst actor in the world now.
No.
In the first movie, it was. In this one also not good, but in the first one, real bad.
Yeah. I mean, this is where we got the K-Stu kind of brooding, kind of like reaction thing to everything, right? This is like her,
Yeah. The problem is it's like a brooding, like, but also with no emotions.
Yes. Yes. And Robert Pattinson's done, some great stuff as well.
Yeah. He was in
High Times, Lighthouse, High Times. Yep. High Life. A lot of things with high in it in the title. He's gonna be our new Bruce Wayne. Emo Batman, Bruce Wayne.
Sure, yeah. Can't hate on that. He's up and coming. I feel like he really has come into acting. Like he's better at it now. Yes.
Hey, you learn. It's a craft, right? Yeah. You kind of go.
Kristen Stewart's gotten definitely better, but
Yeah. So that's it. Other pitch.
Love it.
We did it. We made it.
You gonna fast fact me now? Yeah,
I'm gonna fast fact you. So there's a bunch of stuff I found this one. I found some goofy stuff. So I'm just gonna rattle through these and have fun with them because they're fast, fun facts.
Let's do it. I'll slow them down.
So
always do.
God damn it. So the film's American premiere was held on November 16th, 2009, which in the lunar cycle is a new moon. Was a new moon.
Ah, clever girl.
See what they did there? It's marketing 101.
Stupid, but I like it.
This one's for the fans of the book. While Carlisle, who I didn't know who that was until I watched the movie. It actually took me a while to figure out who Carlisle was, but while he's cleaning,
the dad,
I didn't put that all together because they all look the same age, and I figured out, okay, got it. Yep. Is cleaning Bella's wounds after the party. When he burns the blood-soaked gauze, the gauze forms the flower that's present on the new moon book cover.
What?
Yeah. How do you like that one?
Oh, shit. Oh, that's a deep cut for the book fans. I like it.
Right? This one's stupid. The rest of them are pretty stupid, but...
Go on.
Throughout
Do you
Twilight,
have my attention?
Throughout Twilight, the first movie, K-Stu there, she was wearing brown contact lenses in order to match Bella's eyes. I guess she has brown eyes in the book.
Sure.
And the same
Does
is
Kristen
true.
Stewart not have brown eyes?
I don't think that she got blue eyes, I think. And not
Okay.
that I know. The same is true of New Moon, except for one scene, the Jacob Bella breakup scene outside of Jacob's house when it was raining, of course, because it's always raining when people break up. In this scene, she didn't wear lenses. Instead, her brown eyes were actually CG applied during post-production.
Oh my God, that's so frustrating.
Because the large amounts of rain kept affecting her lenses.
That's so stupid.
Yep. Another stupid one for you. Taylor Lautner hated his long hair wig.
Why?
I pulled that one specifically for you because I knew you'd be like,
what? I don't. That's so dumb. Yeah. Wearing wigs is uncomfortable, but
the 35 millimeter print sent to theaters was titled "The Woods." I don't know why.
What?
I don't know why. I guess maybe people didn't steal it. I don't know. Or people didn't know what it was. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, and also half the movie takes place in the woods, but
it's true too. It's included on Roger Ebert's most hated list.
Nice. I like that.
That's right. And that's why.
Well, actually, thank you. I'm glad you said that.
Mm-hmm. Can't wait.
I'm glad you said that specifically because just that was my other connection to Godfather Part 3. Roger Ebert said it's not even possible to understand this film without knowing the first ones about Godfather Part 3. And
okay.
This movie is the same. Anyway.
Bringing it all back.
Sorry. Thank you.
And
Roger Ebert, rest in peace.
And the last one's a fun one. Jumping off cliffs into the sea in the way shown in the movie is called tombstoning. I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
Yeah, when you jump off, because it's just the way when you jump off off a cliff, and like it has to be a cliff or some high platform where you're vertical positioning like that. I guess it's called tombstoning.
Because you die usually.
No, because it looks like you're like a tombstone. I guess I don't know.
Interesting. Neat.
Wow.
No, that is kind of fun.
That's a fun one.
Very specific.
Yep. That's it. That's all the
Nice.
facts as fast as we could do them. So
I like it. I didn't even slow it down that much.
no, I'm proud of you.
Thanks, buddy.
All right. Let's break this thing down.
Yeah.
So it gets right. There's one thing I do like about the opening of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, let's start with it fires up. You get the Summit Entertainment logo forever.
So long, right? Like legitimately 30 to 45 seconds.
It's
a long time.
Like if this movie is 2 hours and 10 minutes runtime, I have like a minute of that is just on the Summit logo in the very beginning.
Yes. Why? Why Summit? Why? And it's not like there's anything. Like sometimes I could see a long studio production
Intro
thing when it's if there's background speech or something, it's just like silent logo.
I actually thought I had the movie on pause.
Yeah. Same. I was like, wait, did I press play? Oh okay.
So, but that's the only one we get though. That's it.
Yeah, thankfully.
And then of course, right after the summer logo, we get a new moon, literally, and then.
Yeah. Kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah, I was okay with that. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
And then at this point, once you see the new moon, we get the voiceover from K-Stu here.
Yep.
Doing the famous poem from Romeo and Juliet, right?
Yep.
You gonna read it or do you want me to read it?
Sure. I can read it if you want.
I mean, we don't have to. We can skip it.
No. We should make this as long as possible.
Well, I think just calling out all the Romeo and Juliet and Shakespeare references is important because they hammer it. They hammer it in like the first like 20, 30 minutes of this movie.
Yes, they want us to associate this with Romeo and Juliet. They want us to be like, oh, remember good art? And I mean, there is some kind of tie-in, but these violent delights have violent ends, and in their triumph die, like fire and powder, which as they kiss, consume.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, sure. I like the lines after that where it's like, the sweetest honey is loathsome in its own deliciousness and all that jazz. The after, but they didn't get that far. They were like, that's enough Shakespeare for now. Let's get into this shitty movie.
And then we get and then it cuts quickly to kind of like a fast forward like kind of moment, right? Where we get Bella there, slow-mo running through the red parade that we talked about in the trailer. You see in the trailer.
Yep.
And then it cuts to her in a forest, and then there's an old woman there who I assumed was her grandmother. She says it anyways, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that she was probably in the first movie, I assume, the grandmother.
I think now listeners will hopefully call me out. That's what I'm trying to do a thing to get the listeners to yell at us here.
Yeah.
I think the premise is at the beginning of the first movie, Bella is going to live with her dad. She's just moving in with her dad at the beginning because Gran dies. And so she's like, oh no, I have to go support my dad. Like it's his mom that died and he's sad, blah, 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 whatever else. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that was the premise of the first one. So yes.
Okay. How about that?
Gran's important.
So, but this whole dream sequence here, which you could tell it is, the dream sequence is just foreshadowing of everything else that's going to happen.
I mean, and we'll find out that Gran isn't Gran after all, right?
Yeah, no. So Edward shows up. He's a little sparkly, which happens when they hit the sun, right? So people are like, oh my God, he's in the sun. He's probably going to die. Mm-hmm. And then she's facing off with her grandmother, and she's like, oh, Granny, I'd like you to meet. And they got a repeating of lines there, and then she realizes, oh wait, she touches a mirror, the fingers, and it's a mirror, and she's all of a sudden become her grandmother. And there's a lot of fear of getting old, I think, in this movie, which I don't really like. There's a lot of ageism that goes on in this. I'm not happy with it, and this is where it starts. So basically, she's just like, I want to get old. That's pretty much what it is, right? I just don't want to get old.
We find out she is Gran, and Edward says, "Happy birthday, Bella," which we end and Bella wakes up with a copy of Romeo and Juliet next to her face.
Jesus Christ. Like, kind of laying it on thick.
Yeah, it's that kind of movie.
Yeah. But I will say, I do love that there's zero credits. There are no credits going to this movie, which kind of into. Just get right into it. You got 2 hours and 10 minutes of shit to get through.
Rare in the year of our Lord 2021.
Yeah, you don't get that very often, but
Yeah.
I guess everyone on the planet except for me saw the first movie. So why do you need credits? You know these people. Come on, like this is.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, I don't even think there were credits in the first one. Like Twilight has always
Really?
been a hop right. Well, because like you said, none of them were that famous.
That's
so like
true, too.
no one gives a shit.
No one gives a shit.
Yeah. Like, okay, yeah, people, sure.
Get right into it. All right, I love that. I can appreciate that.
It's a scrappy, upstart tale of success.
Yeah, it's a really small independent film.
Stupid Stephanie Meyer.
So she wakes up and then we meet Dad. Charlie Swan comes in, gives her a birthday gift, a little scrapbook thing. Hey, put all your photos in here or something like that. So we find out it's her senior year. She's graduating, so she's turned 18, and that's important for later on.
Sure.
He tells her she's got a gray hair. She freaks out. Another, we all don't want to get old. Get over it.
I do want gray hair though.
I'll give you some of mine.
Yeah, I'm getting a gray beard, but the hair hasn't started yet.
Don't worry, it'll get there.
No, I mean you're still very, very full colored over there. Like,
thanks, man.
I've got some buddies who are my age who are quite gray at this point. I know
Really?
Andy doesn't listen to the podcast. Andy. But yeah, we got some gray boys. So it's okay. Gray is distinguished. That's like not a bad sign of aging.
Yeah, I have no problem with it. It doesn't bother me. So
no, it could be way worse. You could be balding.
That's true.
Yeah, shout out to all our bald homies out there.
Yeah, all of our bald listeners.
Yeah, we love you.
Yeah,
I'll be there soon, probably.
see you soon.
Yeah, see you on the other side.
Okay,
Anyway.
so then we cut to her driving in her truck, which this is a pretty common place for scenes to happen, is in vehicles. There's a lot of driving.
Yes.
A lot of vehicles. So this is our first sense of it. And we get like,
there's a lot of this one specific truck.
yes. Yeah.
It's like
yeah.
Everyone's always driving Bella's truck or Edward's Volvo.
Yes. And then there's a Porsche later on, but that's pretty much it, right? We get those three vehicles and there's a lot of driving and talking.
Yep, exactly.
And then before, so we see the truck driving along, we get like a radio being like, and another missing person, presumed 3 dead, blah, blah, blah. And then the radio changes over. So give us a little hint that people are dying out there.
Mysterious deaths in the woods.
Happens all the time. Then we get to the school parking lot. We're in the school parking lot. She's catching up with all of her human friends there. We see Anna Kendrick finally, right? And then, hey, let me take a photo of you guys for my scrapbook thing. And then she takes out an actual camera, that's 2009 of you.
Yeah. Because her dad told her scrapbook. So she asked the scrapbook. Right?
Yeah, but I'm saying it wasn't like a phone.
Oh, no. Yeah. Which, dude, that holds up. It wasn't a good camera.
No, it's just, one a high school girl's got, right?
Yeah, it's like a, whatever Canon PowerShot special classic. I love those.
Taking the phones, and then we get the Eddie Edward. He pulls up mom's Volvo, right?
I believe that's his Volvo.
Wow, very safety conscious of him.
Hey, man, I'm a big Volvo guy, too. I drove a Volvo in high school.
Is it like, for me to blend in as a high school kid, I need to drive a mom-looking Volvo here?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, his is brand new and mine was from 1996, but
he also parks like a total asshole across 3 spots. Did you notice that?
Yes. To be fair, it's Forks, Washington. I don't think there's a lot of kids at this high school. I think you can park wherever you want.
Still. Parallel
it's
lines.
impolite.
Parallel white lines. Park between them. That's all you got to do.
It's rude.
We get slow-mo Edward walking, which is the beginning of a lot of slow-mo that happens in there. So the first movie, we're stepping out here a little bit. The first movie, is she the only person that knows he's a vampire, right? Human.
Yeah, I mean, yes. And also in this movie too. Yeah.
But so did no one think like, hey, who's the new pale kid who's got weird eyes? Like, can they not see that? Or no,
they're cool with that. What they do, they do wonder, because he usually takes a sick day if it's too sunny. Like that's why they live in the Pacific Northwest, dude, because it's cloudy all the time. So like he goes to school almost every day, except when it's really sunny.
Okay. All right.
So they kind of notice that. They're like, oh, it seems like he's always sick when it's nice out.
Yeah, you got to take the days off, right? Play a little hooky when it's nice out, because that's when you want to be out there. So, yes. Okay. I was questioning that because it definitely comes up later on once I realized that the sister and another one vampire there are like at the school as well. I'm like,
they're like popular kids. Yeah.
Does anyone notice that they look not really all that healthy and, have weird eyes?
Nope, that's cool. It's totally cool because they're also sexy teens.
Good point.
Yeah, if you're attractive, no one cares, and they're not like.
It's a good point.
When they're in the sun later, you can see how much they glitter. Like that would be noticeable.
That is noticeable. Yeah, yeah. You're not going down to the beach and hanging out. Yeah.
No,
okay.
No.
And then we find out he's 109, or I find out he's 109. So which is weird because really he's 100. He's been alive for 109 years. I mean, he's 109, right? I mean, I know you've talked about how time is a construct and blah 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 and all this sort of thing, and age isn't a thing, but I mean. She's still she's 18 and he's 109. It's a little
a little sus.
Yeah, that's a little.
And they started this relationship when she was not 18.
Yeah,
but they were like, well, no, he's in the body of a 17-year-old. Like the premise of this whole thing is really fucked.
That doesn't check out at all.
Like, I think our listeners I hope they're like, they take it for if you're a fan of Twilight, it's for the romance and whatever. Like it's like the statutoriest.
Yeah, 109 to 17.
Yeah, the whole premise is horrifying, but it's so romantic though.
It is classic Romeo and Juliet tale that doesn't end with anything.
Yeah, and Jacob is 16, so.
That's right. He's a little pup. No pun intended.
Think about that too. Yeah. When you're like, when Kristen Stewart is 18.
Yeah. She's 18. He's 16. He's 109. Okay. Well, whatever.
This lot of statutory going both ways all around.
And then Jacob just shows up and this hair just made me laugh. I lost it with the hair, the long hair. It's ridiculous.
It's cute.
And apparently, I guess he's beefed up a bit, which I did read for the movie. He had to put on 26 pounds of muscle or whatever. He did. And he's just like, yeah, just filling in. Some flirting going on. Edward's not having it, not feeling it. Either that or he had a bad breakfast. And then Jacob gives her a little dream catcher thing. Or go ahead.
I also like right before he gives her the dream catcher, Edward's standing 6 feet away. Like it's not like he's like he didn't like go off. Like I thought he was gonna like go into the school or whatever and like go on with his day. No, he's just like standing right next to them, but awkwardly.
Yeah, like far enough away where it's like you can hear us, but it's weird. But you think you're giving us privacy, but you're not.
Exactly.
Yeah, and she does comment about how ripped he is, and that's when we get to just filling in. He gives her a dream catcher, which comes up later on, I guess. Mm-hmm. Here he seems, kind of like a sweet and shy kid, but in the trailer he seemed like a total asshole.
Yeah, I mean he's a nice guy. Like I think that's the premise of the character is like he's the nice guy and Edward's kind of the bad boy.
The trailer does not come off but I guess if you saw the first one, it would probably make more sense maybe, but
right. Well, and then they do a reverso where he turns into kind of a bad boy and Edward turns into the softer. It's like, it's a whole thing.
Behavior tennis here. Okay. And then we get a school hallway walk and talk, right?
Edward's complaining that he's not allowed to give her a present, but Jacob's allowed to. And then
whatever.
Like, to not belabor the point that we're going to the rest of this episode, the writing is horrific. Like truly like the gag worthiest lines of like, well, Bella, you give me everything just by breathing. God. Because she complains, she's like, well, I can't give you anything, you have everything, or whatever, and he's like, no, you give me everything just by breathing, which is important because they make a big deal about how he only wants her to be alive.
Oh my God. And then we get the sister Alice Cullen just yells for Bella and then just does like a one-arm leap over this railing and like just lands on the ground. It's like no one noticed that. No one around school was like, holy shit, that was pretty cool.
No one says anything.
Yeah, cool stairs thing. Yep. And then we get I didn't know his name because I'd never seen him before. The creepy other vampire guy in the background. His name is Jasper, right? That's Jasper.
Yeah, the brother. Yeah, the other brother.
Oh, I thought they were dating.
No. Jasper's dating the blonde who is not in the movie until like the end.
Oh, Dakota Fanning.
She's in it like twice. No. The blonde who's like, I vote no. I didn't choose this life. I think that's Jasper's fiance or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, so whatever. So Alice is like,
I think they might actually be siblings. I think Alice and Jasper could be like actual siblings. I think from the first movie. I can't remember. They explained it.
Yeah. And then aren't they? They're related to Edward, right? Aren't they all?
No. They're not related at all. None of them are related. That's they're like the family.
Collins,
like they
right?
all. yeah, they all like happen. They just like formed like witches do like covens and shit like that. Vampires do the same kind of thing. You give a vampire gang. That's what Godfather 3 also is applicable, I think, because they do like you're not a Corleone, but you are.
But you are, because you're in the family.
You're in the family.
You're in the family.
So the vampires do that too. They're all not really related. They're all just like,
got it.
The parents, Carlisle and Mom. Does she have a name?
I don't know.
She probably has a name. Who cares? It doesn't matter. They associated themselves with these teenage looking vampires. And so they can pose as a family in society. But but I think Jasper and Alice might actually be related.
Gotcha.
And then Jasper is dating the blonde woman.
Yeah. Okay.
And then there's the muscly guy. Remember the muscly guy?
You know what? Yeah. It doesn't matter though. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah, they're in it for like 2 seconds.
Yeah,
they'll be in the next one.
Don't worry about it.
I'm trying to explain the lore to you.
Yeah, I don't need it.
Yeah, the next one will be shorter, listeners. The next one we'll already know all this.
Anyway, so Alice gives her Bella a gift, and she hates getting older, which all right, it's okay. And then she gets invited to a party for her birthday.
Well,
right?
Yes, exactly. And right before that, though, like, did you catch? It seems like Jasper can like control moods of people or something.
So that's what I said too.
They all have powers.
I thought it was Alice, but I guess it is Jasper. Yeah, and each one has their own thing that they can do. Like I guess Alice can see the future type of thing. Jasper, I guess, can control moods, and
Edward reads minds.
Okay,
which they don't explain really at all until later.
Yeah, not at all. Okay,
but they do in the first one, so you missed that.
Right. Okay, all right. I mean, I kind of figured it out later, right? Because
yes. Because he does it later. Right.
It's a fucking movie. All right. We're in class.
Watching Romeo and Juliet.
Of course, on TV.
Are they watching the Kenneth Branagh one?
I think so. I think they are. Yeah. Certainly not the 96 one.
Also a good one.
And then they're kind of mumbling to each other. I couldn't really understand.
Well, yeah, I'm going to get to it because the bad writing is like a line that Bella actually says. Juliet is like perfect if you like totally perfect, beautiful girls. And Edward's like, yeah. Just like very broody. Like, ugh, I hate it. I hate it so much. How do we know how old Kristen Stewart was when this was being filmed?
She actually turned 19 the day that they filmed this, when she was turning 19, or when she was turning 18 in the movie. She was actually turning 19, so she's of right age.
So she is a teenager. Yeah, it's close enough.
Yeah, she's born in 1990, so this came out 2009. So she's
my sister's age.
Yeah, nice. So she's 19.
Shout out to Elizabeth, friend of the pod.
Absolutely.
Okay, so they have a bunch of garbage lines about Romeo and Juliet. Edward explains that he's jealous that Romeo and Juliet are allowed to commit suicide and he's not.
Because rules.
Yeah, well, no, because being a vampire, he's immortal. Like it's really hard.
Yeah,
it's really hard.
I mean, you can just walk out in the sun, right?
Yeah, and then Bella rightfully said, "No, you not when you're a Twilight vampire. That's the thing.
Oh, okay, all right.
You just get exposed as a vampire, but nothing bad happens to you.
Oh, okay.
You just become sparkly.
Oh, I mean, that doesn't sound
you just
terrible.
Become even sexier.
More sparkle motion. Okay. All
yes,
right.
Exactly. You're like, oh no, the sunlight makes me more sexy. No.
Oops.
It's really frustrating. Yeah.
Oopsies.
And Edward is frustrated by this too, because he's like, yeah, I wanted to kill myself. The last time I wanted to kill myself, like, it was a whole pain in the ass. And he's like, and she's like, why would you say that? Which is a justifiable question.
Completely.
And he's like, well, in the first movie, like, remember when you almost died? I thought as soon as you almost died, I thought about killing myself. And she's like, well, tell me about your plan. And he's like, well, I'd go to Italy and provoke the Volturi.
Oh, I wonder wow, that's amazing. I didn't. Okay. Yeah. So all
he
I
explained
heard was
like the whole movie and
pretty much. So I didn't catch any of that other than I saw the flash of Bella getting bitten. And then it starts talking about the Volturi. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. No, he explained the whole movie. He was like, yeah, if anything bad happened to you, I would kill myself. How I'd do it is I'd go to Rome and provoke the Volturi, or like, not Rome, Italy, because they're in Volterra.
Okay.
And then she's like, what's the Volturi? And then he's like, well, let me tell you.
Here's some exposition. Boop, boop, boop,
yep,
boop, boop, boop.
Like from the trailer.
And then the teacher calls him out for talking in class, finally. Talking all this Volturi and Italy and, you know.
They're like, he's like, oh, you know what would suck is if one of you had to actually recite some iambic pentameter here for me, Edward. Like, why don't you? And then, of course, Edward, like, recites half of a page of Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah. Edward's like, dude,
because he's hung out.
I hung out with Shakespeare. So
yeah. Yeah. And obviously the teacher is embarrassed.
Back to the movie. Okay. And then we
the rest of you should pay attention too.
And then we end up we're at Edward's house, I think, right? The Cullen house. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Which is like, it looks dope, right? Like it's all glass, everything.
Yeah. Looks real sick.
Very contemporary. Yeah.
Getting some more exposition about the Voltaire, and then we're looking at, which I thought this was a pretty cool transition. They're looking at a painting of the main villain there, Aro, and the two guys in the seats, and then like they're looking and they focus in and they get closer to it, and all of a sudden it transitions into being that scene, which I think, all right, that's cool.
Yeah.
Camera, little movement in there.
Very like Harry Potter, like I don't know. I've seen that move before and I like it. I agree.
Yeah, I've seen it before as well, but I thought it was cool. It was good. All right.
Yeah, well done. And they explain that they have laws, but not very many. So like the only one that we really care about is making sure that we stay a secret.
Mm.
And then that's when we watch the RO rip a guy's head off.
Straight from the trailer, kind of turns into stone / head comes off. I was like, damn.
Yeah, man. It's more graphic in the movie than it was in the trailer.
Very much so.
Literally just like twists and tears, which I've got a lot of issues with this too. Because you're like, if you're a vampire, like why would you stay there? Like why wouldn't you fight back? I don't know. Like if you're super powerful anyway,
because laws,
stupid. And then Edward points out that the only thing that can hurt him is her.
Yes,
he's invulnerable except for her.
Because love. And then we had a quick flash of, I didn't know who this was, some lady, and now I know it's Victoria, red hair and fire looking evil. And they're talking, and then they're going on blah, blah, blah about protecting each other. And I don't know. It's like, okay.
That was from the first movie. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that made sense.
Because Edward killed her husband.
Yes.
And a couple other friends. They had like a little vampire gang going.
A couple of lost boys. Girls.
Her husband was a real dirtbag. He was like, the premise of the first one is he's like hunting Bella for sport. He's like, oh, she's got interesting blood.
Oh, a little predator vibe. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So he just like loves hunting Bella for sport, and Edward is not having it and murders him at some point. So Victoria is she was on the revenge path is the premise of this.
I got that. I figured all that out. And then we get Alice pops in to break up the moment to, hey, there's a party. Yay.
Yeah. And it's the first time that we get Bella being like, well, you know what would solve all of this is if you turn me into a vampire. And he's like, no, I'm obsessed with you having life.
I couldn't quite figure out all the motivation for everyone here. I mean, I don't know. Just
turn her into a vampire if she wants it. I don't know.
Yeah, and call it a day, right?
Yeah, who gives a shit? Edward tries to think he's above that. He's like, no, but you're so like. It seems like they kind of paint Edward to be a religious guy later a little bit.
Yeah,
and it's part because imagine he's 100 years old, right? So he grew up in the late 1800s,
getting it done.
A different time. A different time in America.
Some would say.
Yeah, you hate to see it. Reconstruction.
So
Chester Arthur, maybe.
We're still at the house. We go to the birthday party here, which is pretty rough. Just to
it's the family, right? Yeah,
just the family, the Cullen family. Yeah, I mean, there's not gonna be more people. So Bella looks a little bummed that there's not more people. But what are you gonna do? Bring more humans in for them to eat?
Right. Well, they don't eat people. That's the premise of the first movie. They only eat animal blood.
Well, Jasper looks like he wants to eat someone, so
he sure does.
Yeah. So they give her gifts, and she gets paper cut. Slow-mo, blood drops to the floor, and I was like, "Oh boy!"
Card. She's like, "Ouch!"
Who does that? Just open the fucking car like a normal human being.
Yep.
And then definitely record scratch as the room goes. This whole sequence, I was laughing throughout this entire moment because it was like record scratch, blood drops to the floor, and then Jasper just goes ape shit. He's like, "Oh man, I need that blood." And he makes a slow-mo leap towards Bella, and Edward just like tosses her across the room, which was both of them and Bella, and just throws her across the room as well into like a wall, into a table, and she falls and crashes into flowers or whatever. He goes the other way.
Well, yeah, she's way more bloody after that.
Yes, he made her way more bloody.
She's like bleeding from her arm. Yeah.
And then Alice is like steps in to try and calm Jasper, and the other two guys are holding him back. He's all fired up, and then the room goes silent again, and they all turned and looked at her, at Bella, and she's on the ground, like blood just pouring from her arm. I was like, she's done. Let's end this movie right now. And then they drag her to the room. Alice apologizes because she's like, but I can't. I want to help, but I kind of need that. I can smell it, you know?
They're big Animal blood people.
I didn't quite get. So I didn't know the Carlisle connection here. So I was like, who is this
He's
guy
the
who's
dad,
like,
yeah.
he was like coming in as kind of like a dad figure. I was like, is he like the boss? What's going on here? And then
He's a doctor. He's like, that's how he makes. So like, he's very wealthy because he's been a doctor for like 200 years.
He knows everything. He knows it all, right?
Yeah. So he's been making doctor money for forever.
Yeah, crushing it, right?
Yeah, he's doing great.
But
and
apparently
that's why he can stitch her up. And
yeah, he can apparently control himself around human blood there. So
yes, they've all trained themselves. The whole premise of the Cullen family, like their motto, like creed of way of life, is they're not like other vampires. They only drink animal blood. They're not interested in people. Like they've sworn off. They haven't had human blood in like 100 years at this point, except for Jasper's like a newer guy.
Okay, that explains his like all fired up. So they're
it's only been a couple decades for him.
So are they like supposed to be like vegans or something like that? Like,
yes, yeah, they're like vampire vegans, which is animals, which is killing animals, right?
Well, yeah, the other way, right? But you know what I'm saying.
But yes, exactly. Yeah, that's the premise. Like the whole Twilight vampire thing is like, oh, you can choose not to eat human. You don't need human blood. You just need blood, some kind of blood. Doesn't matter whose blood it is.
Right. There's plenty of animals out there. Just get a cow farm.
And they haven't gone full True Blood yet, where like they've made synthetics.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. If you know anything about True Blood in the vampire circles, you know.
So then we're still in the house. We're up in the bathroom. We got Dr. Carlisle here stitching up Bella, pulling out glass, all this sort of stuff. We get some old cool vampire medieval looking paintings, stuff like this. And they take a quick brief talk about how he can stay in control, years of practice. He wants to help people. Then we learned
souls a little bit.
Yeah, and then we learned that he's been damned, which
as a vampire, you're all damned. Yeah.
Oh, is that what? Is that what he's? I thought it was like
that's
him.
The premise.
I thought it was him specifically. He said something. I thought it was like what,
no. Like when you turn into a vamp, like you're like vampires are the undead, right?
Yeah,
like that still holds true. In well, see, like that's the thing. Vampires are like zombies, where it's like every canon has its own rules,
right? Right.
Like in the Twilight universe, vampires are dead, like usual.
Yeah.
They don't die in the sun. That's unusual. That's like the one unusual thing. The rest,
they get
the rest of vampire rules. Yeah, the rest of vampire rules kind of apply.
Okay.
And so like they don't have souls anymore because they're dead.
Okay, so they tweak some of the lore for that we all know and love for vampires a little bit, but not too much. Okay, all right.
They basically in order to explain why they can be adults in public.
Yeah,
like you couldn't be a public figure if you were only allowed to go out at night, right?
Right.
So they're among us. That's kind of the premise.
Okay, so the next question, I was like, she wants to be changed. Edward won't do it. I was confused. I didn't quite catch her. I didn't understand why.
Because he's religious. Yeah. He doesn't want her to lose her soul. That's the thing. He's like, no, you're still alive. Like, don't forget, being alive is cool.
Right.
Like, it's okay.
Because then you might get damned. You know, well, you will be if you become a vampire.
You will be damned if you become a vampire like me. You know, forever undead, forever hungry, walking the earth like a monster. He doesn't want to turn her into a monster. Basically, he doesn't want to be responsible. He's a big softie. He doesn't want to be responsible for turning her into a monster.
I mean, that's fair, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
totally reasonable. Then when you looked up the trivia fact about burning the blood-soaked gauze there,
was
there a reason for it?
No. It's no reason other than to do some cool thing and, you know, a little nod to the fans.
My guess is maybe if you were taking the logic of the movie, maybe it was like prudent to destroy any kind of blood that's in the house in order to make sure that the rest of the family doesn't get
freak out. Yeah,
maybe.
Right. Because they smell the blood, they know it's attached to her, right? Type of thing. Maybe that's what I was thinking. But yeah, okay.
Either way, stupid. So then Edward drives her home in her truck. Edward drives her truck half the time, which is come on.
There's also a lot of the guys driving her truck, by the way. Jacob also drives her truck home.
Little empowerment here.
Seriously.
She can drive her own truck.
Yes.
Well,
it's a flush.
She's a bad driver.
She is a bad driver. We'll find out later, but still, it's her truck. She should be able to drive it.
Right.
And then we pretty much get I get this whole sense at this point of there's a little bit of conversation here, and it's pretty much just her getting scared about getting old. And then they get outside.
It's her scared about getting old, specifically in that it means she thinks from her perspective, she thinks she'll lose Edward because he'll get bored of her or whatever and want to find some new younger model. And from his perspective, she'll die at some point. She is mortal. He won't be able to spend eternity with her, right? Like,
right.
You get why there's a conflict, but it's stupid because there are no souls. Like she should just be a vampire and it would solve all the problems. She's right. She's right the whole time.
Yes.
Right? That's the premise.
I mean, that's what I'm getting at it. Yeah. Just do it. Just get it over with.
But Edward says that's not a solution. That's a tragedy.
And then they get out of the truck and then they kiss. And what's wrong with Edward in this moment? Is there something with him kissing humans? Does he have a problem with this? Is he's doing it all weird? He's like freaking out. He's kind of being weird.
No. I think it's because he's uncomfortable because he's going to break up with her soon. I think he's like I think he's realized because he remember like at the end of that, there's a lot of human, because it is a teen soap opera kind of drama. There's a lot of interaction that we're skipping over here. A lot of like subtle interaction of like, Edward asks her if she doesn't understand his real feelings for her, because she doesn't. Clearly, she doesn't understand that he values her because she's alive in part, right? Like that's part of his love for her is that she is a living person and he's not anymore, and he's a little bit envious of that and a little bit like, has her on a pedestal. He wants to preserve her livingness. And she's like, well, I don't really believe like souls don't matter. Like you don't, like you have a soul for sure.
Yeah. And she's trying to throw it away and become that just so she can be with him. Okay. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, he's uncomfortable and he realizes that she won't accept it until he turns her into a vampire. He's like, I got to break up with you to protect you. This is when he realizes. That's what I took away from that scene.
Yeah. But then it didn't. Okay. Yeah. His reaction, I think, was a little more just like he was getting sick or something. I was like, is he dying right now?
Oh yeah. He's a bad actor and it's a stupid movie.
Yeah, it's bad. Okay. All right.
I'm filling in the blanks. I'm making it better for us.
Okay. And then we kick into a short, we have many of these, but a short kind of moody montage, I called it, where we get like some hit song kind of plays and we get like a,
yep. Yeah, I was gonna say the soundtrack's pretty good.
It's not bad. So she's in her bedroom making her memories book, taking photos.
Pacific Northwest stuff. Yeah, that I like.
Yeah, taking photos of Edward and putting it in the book. And I was a kid, I didn't realize you could take photos of vampires. I guess you can. I thought they always showed up. They didn't show up.
Yeah, no, that rule doesn't apply here.
Doesn't apply. Okay.
Just like the sunlight doesn't kill them. It's the same. Right. That same premise, I think. Light's okay.
So pretty much everything that we all know to be true is not.
Yeah. Other than they're immortal and drink blood.
And drink blood. Okay. At least they kept that around.
They don't turn into bats. They can't fly.
Some can be vampire vegans, which means they don't eat humans. They eat meat.
You don't have to eat
animal
blood. You have to eat You can
animal meat.
You have to eat blood, but it doesn't have to be humans. So I guess it's pretty specific set of rules.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah. So this moody montage. We get the school cafeteria. She's looking at the nerd table. No one's sitting there.
She's watching the empty table. Yeah.
Yep. Edward creeping in her room, looking at the photo.
Yeah, that was a weird throwaway scene.
Yeah, right. And then outside the house, she pulls up and she gets out, and he's just standing on like the side of the house in the yard, like.
Yeah, which like to be fair, so I think I was telling you, I think off recording, about the time me and Max and Matt drove around Washington State.
Yeah,
we drove through Forks. We went through this town, and it's like, oh, I get it. I get the movie way more after having been there. Like, yeah, you can just like there are just like dirt roads where nothing exists, and you can just pull over and like you're in the woods. So it doesn't matter.
This is it.
Like, let's just get out in the forest. Yes, because they do a lot of this whole movie, right? Like this is the first. I think this is the first time they do it, but they just like pull over on the side of the road and wander into the forest. Okay. Sure.
So, he's like, hey, come for a walk with me. And they're in the forest. Yeah. Like, as you were just saying.
Yeah.
So, and he basically breaks the news that he's like, the Cullens, we got to leave. We're leaving. We got to get out of town. So, by the way, hold on. Just a quick step back here. Her father, Charlie.
Yeah.
Calling him by his first name, which I thought was a little weird.
The sheriff or whatever.
Yeah, he's a cop. Does he not think that this kid's creepy and weird? Like he knows.
No, he's down with this kid. He's a very nice boy.
I don't know. He seems a little weird. But anyways.
Yeah, he's a little gray, but
his eyes are a little weird, but whatever.
Who isn't these days?
That's true. So they're in the woods. This is kind of from the trailer too, and they walk through the forest, blah blah. And he's talking about how they're gonna leave, and he's like, "Hey, Carlisle is supposed to be 10 years." I didn't catch this. He's supposed to be. I thought he said 10 years old. And he's like, Oh no, 10 years older than he looks, or than
Right.
him, or whatever.
He looks like he's in his 40s, and he's supposed to probably be in his 50s at this point.
Right. And he's like, people are starting to notice. You're like, oh, that's the only thing people are starting to notice.
Yeah.
And then Bella's like, I have to think something to say to Charlie, who's her dad. Why wouldn't she just say her dad? I think it's something to say to my dad.
She has like a hang up about calling him dad for some reason.
Okay, so let's explain the first movie. That's
sometimes, fair.
And there's like a lot of blah 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 scenes from the trailer.
She's just an angsty teen, Russ.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Call your parents by their first name.
Right. Exactly.
And then we get the whole line about, hey, you don't belong in my world. And then she's like, but I belong with you.
I belong with you. And he goes, no, you don't.
Nah.
Which I appreciate. And then she's like, oh, I'm going to come with you. And he's like, I don't want you to.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I'm coming with you. And he's like, no, I mean it. No.
Seriously.
And then she's like, oh, well, that changes things. Yes, of course that changes. That's the whole premise of what we're doing here.
Yep.
And then that's when we get Edward asking her to promise that she won't do anything reckless
wink,
for Charlie's sake.
Wink, wink.
And then dramatically says, this will be the last time you see me. And then Bella dramatically replies, if this is about my soul, take it. I don't want it without you.
Oh, God.
And he's like, no, it's not about that. You're just not good for me.
What?
And then he kisses her forehead and she says, don't. And then he says goodbye and they leave. Yep.
No, he just disappears. He just disappears.
He disappears. She chases after him briefly and he's vampire fast, so it doesn't matter. Like,
what a easy way to break up with someone. I'm going to bring you out to the woods and be like,
I'm just going to run away.
Yeah. See ya.
Yeah. You missed the first movie. This is the first time you've seen vampire quickness, I think, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, he's gone.
He gone.
Yeah. And then it's nighttime.
Yeah.
He left her in the woods at like dusk.
Yeah. Well, there's the whole first step of breakup is denial, right? Where she goes stomping through the woods being like, Edward. And then it turns completely, and then it's like immediately nighttime. And then she's lost. And then she's walking and just falls over. It's like, what?
Yeah, like maybe she tripped. I don't know.
Don't you live up there in those woods? Like, what's going on here? And then she just decides to curl.
She stays down.
Yeah, she's like, fuck it, I'm gonna cry myself to sleep out here in the woods. Done.
Yeah. And then we get a muscly guy carrying her out of the woods. It's Sam. We'll come to find out.
And then we're back in the house, and I didn't realize this is where I found out that dad was a cop.
Right. We get back to the house and they're out. We see her getting carried out of the woods. Jacob and crew are like hanging out outside. They're all like, oh, what's up? What's going on? And everyone looks on suspiciously as she kind of gets saved, right? Like,
well, because like her dad, because they're out,
chair.
Because they're outside and the dad's a cop and they got a lookout party for her basically. So you see the rest of the family. So right.
Yep. Exactly.
But it was kind of weird. So this guy Sam walks up to her dad with her, and he's like, "Oh, hey Sam." It's like, does everyone know this kid just walks around the woods with no shirt on? Is that a thing?
Yeah. Sam's cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it's not a thing. That's a great point for calling it out. In that the shirtless part specifically, like I think it's cool. Walking around the woods is cool. People do that.
Sure,
but you generally wear clothes when you do that.
But they know who Sam is, so it's like, oh, hey man, thanks for finding my daughter.
Everyone does know who Sam is. Yeah.
Okay, so it's not like he's like
they're all down with Sam. Yeah,
Sam's cool, but hey man, thanks for finding my daughter and walking out of the woods with her with your shirt off.
Exactly. Harry's our connection here, right? Harry's the in between. Harry is not a werewolf, but he is a member of the tribe.
Harry's his
Harry's like
Charlie's
deputy.
buddy, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he's like the deputy or whatever.
He was
Charlie's sheriff.
He was in Die Hard with a Vengeance. Yeah,
oh, was he?
Yeah. Played his.
I don't think I saw that one.
Yeah, it was a good one. What? Serious?
Huh. Yeah, no, I'm really only like a Die Hard, the first one, and Live Free or Die Hard, and
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Two?
No, we're done. We're done here. Moving on.
Anyway. Harry is the in between. Everyone's cool with the reservation. Sam. Right, exactly. Yeah. Okay. Like the guys on the reservation are helping with the search party. That's all kosher. Everyone knows who Sam is.
Okay. And then we go into a breakup montage.
Right.
Which
is so frustrating. So we get title card October. Bella's in the room, in her room, I guess, sitting in a chair, looking out the window.
So depressed. I feel like
I've
lost a limb.
camera just rotating around, right? We get the camera rotating around for like 5 more minutes.
Yep.
So camera rotating around her, looking out the window, rotating around her, title card, November. Alice, this is the first time that she's like writing an email to Alice, right?
Yes. Yep. Yep.
Like, Alice, I wish you were here. Life sucks now that Edward and you aren't here anymore. I really miss you all. Please respond to me. I don't know if you'll even get this.
And all these emails are going to a bounce account, basically. They're just bouncing back. Like
basically, yeah. Title card, December. still spinning. Bella's doing a monologue about how when they left, they took everything, and the absence of Edward is everywhere that she looks. And she wakes up screaming in the middle of the night, sleeping. And then this is when
Jesus Christ.
We cut to the school where she's like sitting alone at the old table that the family used to sit at. She's screaming in her sleep more. Her friends are just watching her. Like life is just passing her by. And the pain is only the reminder that he was real, that you all were. And then she, closes her email to Alice. You're like, geez, what a struggle.
God.
It's been months. Yeah, what a goddamn nightmare. I was going to say, after the breakup period here, Dad is frustrated. And
which completely fair. Completely fair.
Well, I mean, yes, he's like acts semi-reasonably and also wildly unreasonable. So
is he though?
The next scene, he meets her out at her truck. She's about to get in and drive away. And he's like, all right, that's it. You're going to Jacksonville to live with your mother.
Rough. Get your shit together. You're going to Jacksonville. That's the worst thing you could possibly hear.
I just got here a movie ago. And she says, I'm not leaving Forks. And he says, he's not coming back. She says, I know. I love some of the lines that he's got. Like, frankly, this behavior is just not normal. It's scaring the hell out of me and your mother. What a weird line. Why would you say it like that?
Yeah.
And she's like, no, it's cool. I'm better now. I'm going to go shopping with Jessica. I need a girls' night out.
He's like,
Jessica is Anna Kendrick.
Yeah. He's like, you go shopping?
I don't think you've ever shopped before.
Okay.
She's like, no, it's a thing I do now. And he's like, well, go buy stuff. Capitalism.
Right? Keeps the world spinning.
And then we get the clearly, obviously, she was lying to her dad. So we get the phone call to Jessica. She's in the truck now. Hey, Jessica, it's Bella. Yeah. Bella Swan, which I hate because they are actually friends.
Yeah.
Right? Like the movie portrayed. Why would you be like, how many Bellas do you know?
Yeah. Like me calling you like, hey, Jared, it's Russ. Yeah. Russ Capaz.
I do know 2 Russes.
Fuck.
It would be like me calling you and saying, hey, Russ, it's Jared. Jared DeLuca.
I actually do know 2
Oh, yeah.
Jareds.
My other host, Jared. You know other Jareds?
Yeah.
We both know others of us. But Bella is so specific. How many Bellas do you know?
None.
How many Bellas do either of us know? Right, exactly.
None.
I do know Ann Isabella, which is her full name, apparently.
Does she go by Bella for short?
Discover later. No, she does not.
Okay. All right. So we end up at a movie theater. And the movie they walk out of, classic movie title, The Dead Come Back. Pretty great.
Oh, yeah. It's great. Everything they do, they try to make the movie, they try to make everything in this movie like, look how clever we are.
Yeah, it's like a little too much.
Yeah, look how good a job we did it right.
Like you can do that, but you can't start the shot like focused on the
or it has to be a witty movie.
Yeah,
or it has to be like a comedy movie or something to begin with.
I mean, you can still do, but you just have to have it in the background. Like someone know you can't just start with like showing us like the dead come back and then come down to them being like, really?
Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of ways to do it.
I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. So Andrew Kennick, Jesus Christ.
Ken Anadrick.
Anadrick.
Hannah Karenina.
Hannah Karenina. She's just yapping on. Blah, 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 blah. Apparently, this was all improvised, by the way. I did some reading.
Oh, really? She did great.
Yeah, I thought so.
That's a really good walk and talk improvise. Yeah. Talking about her cousin with leprosy and shit.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. And then they come across like an alley and there's like a biker gang hanging out and Bella has a flashback to an alley with some dudes, I'm assuming from movie part 1.
No, that's the thing. It's just not a flashback. It's like a fantasy. I think she's like fantasizing about them murdering her.
Oh, wow.
This movie's weird, dude. That's
okay.
Like, it's not okay.
Yeah, definitely not. Okay.
No, the movie's problematic.
Well, she knows that Edward can read minds, right?
Yes.
So in her mind, she's probably doing this because she's trying to think of ways to get him back. So she's thinking of these things that maybe he can see, and then he pops up.
Maybe, but like it's not an understood premise that he can read minds from far away. He can only read minds if he's like in the room with you, and he can't read Bella's mind explicitly. That's like the premise of the whole series.
Well, and we learn that all the vampire tricks don't work on her. We learn that later.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we learn that later, but it's established already that for whatever reason, she's the only mind he can't read.
So they hinted at in the first one. In this one, they kind of lock it in that like no vampires can do anything. Okay.
Right. There's a lot of fucked up things about their relationship. Like we pointed out, the age discrepancy, right? She's a teenager. He's 100. One of the things is like, he's attracted to her partially because he can't read her mind. He's like, oh, other girls are boring, but I can't read your mind.
That's a little weird. That's a little weird.
Kind of shallow. Yeah. Kind of shallow, kind of weird. Yeah. There's a lot of weird, problematic things about Edward and Bella, obviously.
Happens. So then
it gets worse. It gets way worse in the series too. I promise you.
Oh, I can't wait till we get to part 4.
Yeah.
So then, he shows up as an apparition, and we get the sense that now he can communicate, or he's like jumping through time to talk to her, space and time to talk to her. So
this would be a new power.
New power. Intro, new power. And he's like, hey, don't, keep moving. This is dangerous. Keep walking, lady. And she's like, no, you know what? You left. Fuck you. I can do whatever I want in my life. And she walks down the alley and she talks to some dope on a motorcycle.
The excuse she uses, she tells Jessica, she's like, I think I know those guys. And Jessica's like, no. I want to continually point out how bad the writing is.
It's like so garbage.
I think I know those guys.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, not at all.
Like, hey, we got beer and bikes.
And Edward shows up again. He's like saying, you promised not to do anything reckless. And then she's like, yeah, fuck it. Get on a motorcycle. She gets on a motorcycle with this random dude.
Hey, boys. Yeah. Which is wicked creepy. He's like, oh, we got to take her.
This whole sequence is just weird, but I guess
it's slimy. It feels gross. The whole scene is gross, right?
Because this guy is also definitely in his late 30s, maybe early 40s, maybe, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yes.
And she's definitely, I mean, she did just turn 18. But still, like, you'd be like, this guy's not.
Yeah. He's like, I'll be whoever you want me to be, baby. Yeah, just get on the bike.
And then the biggest crime is
just get on the bike. He's going to rape her. It seems terrible, right? Like, this is a horrifying scene.
Yeah.
Edward's like, stop it. And she gets on the bike and says, drive. And then he drives off.
And then they just go cruising around.
Well, you're right. And then she screams, stop, because she sees Ghost Edward in the road.
Well.
And then somehow, in the luckiest scenario of all time, biker guy stops.
He does.
And like takes her back to her friend.
I mean, she does come walking around the corner, but he does. Yeah, I guess. We don't know. Yeah, true.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I expected crimes to happen.
And my biggest problem is, there was a crime that happened. No helmets for anyone.
Well, right. Yeah, sure.
Is
that a crime in Washington?
Probably is at this point.
Yeah. Not in New Hampshire.
Don't know. Yeah. Well,
unlimited freedom.
All right. So then she gets back to her friend who she just ditched, Jessica there, Anna Kendrick, Kendrick Lamar. And she's just like, yeah, where the hell what? That's not
she's
cool.
Like, that guy could have been a psycho. Like, justifiably, Jessica's pissed.
Yes. 100%.
And she's like, wait, are you some kind of adrenaline junkie now? And she's like, I just got such a good rush. And Jessica's like, yeah, you go bungee jumping. You don't jump on the back of some loser's motorcycle who can murder you.
Completely reasonable.
Then
we get to another truck ride
end scene. So Bella is voicing over. She's driving the truck, talking about how she saw him and that apparently it takes a rush of danger in order to keep seeing him.
And then she visits Jacob, right?
Yep. She's got some junk motorcycles in the back.
Yep, with his comically long hair still.
Yep.
She's like, hey, fix up this motorcycle. And then he just lifts it off the back of the truck like it's no big deal. And she's like, oh, hey, wait, it's heavy. And I was like, so obviously she doesn't know he's a werewolf there. And
he doesn't either yet.
Oh, so this wasn't a thing in the first one. So he was in the movie, but he didn't know. Okay.
He's like, no, I'm just a ripped 16-year-old. Of course I can lift motorcycles.
Yeah, and then there's a bunch of old age jokes. Still don't appreciate those going on back and forth right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She's wondering why he's so buff at 16. And he's like, age is just a number. Okay.
Jesus
sure.
Christ. Yeah.
She literally goes, oh, how'd you get so buff? Bad writing. So now we're off to fix the motorcycles. Jacob says the music is good. Bella they do a lot. Again, the writing is good. She goes, I don't really like music anymore. You're like, well, yeah, sure. That's a classic, sign of depression that we're explicitly illustrating now. I'll be like, yeah, I don't like the things I used to like anymore.
Oh my God.
And Jacob's like, okie dokie. And like keeps working away, like fixing the bikes. Bella's like, well, if we're going to do this every day, and I hope that we will, we have to fit it homework in, right? I'm being a bad influence on you. And he's like, no, you're not an influence. She's like, well, no, because I'm older. And he's like, well, yeah, you're older, but I'm younger, and you don't influence me. I'm a leader.
This is all like obnoxious, cringy fucking conversation between two teenagers.
Yeah, horrible writing. Then his buddies show up.
Yeah, and I think she even left it off as like, well, if I'm 35, then you're 32. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what?
I don't get it. That doesn't make any sense to me.
And then the boys show up. Oh, yeah. Shit. It's just my boys.
And he goes, and literally Jacob's line is, no, it's okay. It's just my boys. Because she's like, oh, someone's coming.
It's like, what is it? What?
Also, like, you're not on the run. Like, you're in a garage. Right?
So I didn't realize. But the bike montage thing hadn't started. I didn't realize a bunch of time had passed when he took the bike off the back. I thought this was still the same sequence there, but apparently it seems like a bunch of time.
No, I don't think yet. I think this is still. This is still the first day.
But one of the two boys come in there, his boys, and one's like, "Oh, so the bike building is true."
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yes, it has been. It's not the same day.
Yeah, and then the other one's like, "Oh, how about you being his girlfriend?" I was like, "Wait, what? Did a day pass? Are they wearing the same clothes? I thought they were wearing the same clothes."
It's pre-montage, but it's post-first encounter.
Yes, and these two guys are absolutely terrible actors and a couple of idiots.
Yes, Quill and Embry.
Yes.
Are their names
not good actors? Hopefully they've grown from that, but
yeah, probably not. Apparently Jacob told them that Bella is his girlfriend, and so they're picking on him because of that. They're like, oh, is this your girlfriend? She's like, no, we're just friends. And they're like, oh, sick burn.
Yeah.
And he's flustered, obviously. So Bella sees that. She's like, oh, so you guys have girlfriends? That's awesome. Which they all laugh and say that Quill is taking his cousin to prom, which like, ha, incest.
Like, none of this is.
Then they get into a wrestling match, right? Quill and Jacob get into a little fight.
This is all like brainless to me. I'm like, I don't even know what's happening right now. Why is this all happening? Yeah.
Embry goes, I got $5 on Quill, and Bella says, you're on. And then they just watch them fight, and that's the end of the scene. Which, like, I think they're trying to plant the seed. They're like, oh, he's starting to turn into a werewolf. Like, they're all starting to turn into werewolves.
Yeah.
A little aggressive going on, but
I guess this is all what happens in the middle of nowhere. So that makes sense, right? Yeah. You work on motorcycles and you watch your friends wrestle. So
Forks, Washington is a terrible place. I don't recommend going there.
Yeah. I could imagine.
Dear listener, if you live in Forks, I'm so sorry.
How did you find us?
Send us an email. Yeah. I don't think we have any listeners in
Forks.
We might.
Not anymore.
Yeah. Not anymore. Yeah. Your awful town. I remember driving through, and like we drove through in what year was that?
87, 88.
Dare I say, year of our Lord, 2013.
Yeah, I was
12 or 13, I think. Oh, maybe it was 12. It doesn't matter. Either way, after Twilight had been out, some of the Twilights had been out, and all of the shit in town was like named after, like, come to the vampire saloon. Like there's literally nothing. It's a note. Like there's a few thousand people that live there. It's a terrible place.
Jacob's Diner.
Yes, that's like what they were doing, and I was like, oh no, that I guess good for tourism.
Sure.
Oh no. No one's gonna come this far. It was really hard to get there.
The Bella, Edward, and Jacob like wax museum.
Yeah. It was very difficult to get there from Seattle.
Yeah, it sounds like a place that's named that's very far from anywhere.
Yeah.
So
Which is a long way.
So then we jump into the bike building montage.
Yes. And which seems like it should take longer because those motorcycles seem like they were in real bad shape.
Yeah. So we get a pizza delivery. She tosses a slice of pizza across the room, which turns into a wrench, which I was like, I get it, but that is pretty dumb.
Great editing.
And then they're getting pretty close now. More old jokes, which I still didn't like. And then Jacob asks the correct question. She makes a comment about age, and he's like, "Hey, what's up with you and age?" I was like, "Thank you. Finally, let's pump the brakes on this."
Pump the brakes on that for a second. Right before that, we get Bella writing emails more, right? Writing more emails to Alice. She's always writing emails to Alice.
Yeah, I didn't care for any of this stuff.
I wish I could tell you about Jake. He makes me feel better. The hole in my chest is almost healed for a little while. Like, we're setting up the love story, right? More than the montage does on its own.
Yeah.
And then you get the whole age thing. She talks about how she's not really into the cougar stuff. And you're right. He says, "What's with you and age? How old was that Cohen guy anyway?" Which we know,
pretty old
AF. Doing a little walk and talk, and she doesn't answer him. And then she finishes her email. Even Jake can't keep the dreams away.
Cut to her in bedroom having more nightmares, and it's pretty obnoxious.
Wakes up screaming. Her dad's like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
Like, imagine being her dad in this scenario of just like, more screaming. Good. I'm so annoyed.
Dad points out the dream catcher above her bed and is like, "Oh yeah, thanks for that, Dad. That's good." And then he gives a little.
Isn't Jake? Jake seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, he seems like a nice boy, right?
Yeah.
Dad gives a quick little love pep talk. Kind of goes okay. Sometimes you just gotta love, what's good for you. Which, sure, yeah.
But what do I know? I'm just a terminal bachelor. Famous ladies, man. And she's like, "Yeah, you can't see it, but I'm making a cringe face."
It's cringe. It's cringe. And then we're back in a truck because that's where most of this movie takes place.
"Love you." Next scene. So Jacob and Bella are in the truck with the bikes in the back. They're fixed now. They're going for a ride, seemingly. Jacob's wondering whether they'll work or not, and what she would have said if he said he couldn't fix them. There's a lot of this is to be fair to the audience who are listeners who may enjoy this movie, it's directed at teenagers, right?
Yes,
like, it's not for
teenage
us.
girls.
This movie's not for us.
Obviously not. It's directed for teenage girls.
And I get it. Yeah. And I get, or even some, sensitive teenage. I was a sensitive teenage boy, Russ.
Okay.
I think back in the day in high school, maybe I would have identified a little more with this of like, what would you have said if I said I couldn't have fixed them? And she's like, "Are you doubting your mad skills?" And he's like, no. Like, come on. Like, if I was smart, I would have dragged out that rebuild so I could have spent some more time with you.
Oh,
and she's like, "Well, yeah. Even if you couldn't have fixed the bikes, we would have found something to do together." And he's like, "Nice."
Like, cut your hair.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then somehow, like, I don't know, like, they're so far away.
And it just so happens our heroes are driving along the road where Sam and the other shirtless boys are hanging on the edge of a cliff.
And they're like so far away also. Like, I wouldn't see that from the road where they were, right? It's like half a mile off into the distance.
She's got superhuman eyes.
What are they doing over there? Is that Sam? And Jacob's like, "Oh yeah, him and his cult." And then they proceed to throw a kid off a cliff. Which you're like, "Oh, hey, Jesus."
Yeah, get on board. This is the cult. This is what you do.
So she goes, "Oh my God," and pulls over. And she gets out of the truck, but they're far away. And Jacob's like, "Well, they're not really fighting. They're just cliff diving. Yeah. Scary as hell. A real rush." She goes, "A rush, you say?"
Your trigger word there. Did you say rush?
Edward? Yeah, and Jacob doesn't get it yet. He's like, clearly doesn't understand werewolves. He's like complaining. He's like, "Yeah, all my friends are gone. They're all hanging out with Sam now all the time. All those guys are just like a bunch of jerks. Like, I don't get it." And she's like, "Well, don't let them get to you. stay, like, just avoid them. And he's
Stay
like,
vigilant.
yeah, I'm trying. Yeah. And then Sam jumps off the cliff, and then Bella fantasizes about jumping off the cliff. And then we cut to some
Oh my
empty
God.
fireplace.
This movie's.
I hate this movie. I hate this movie so much. We're still in part one. How have we not gotten to the outro? So Jacob decides he wants to teach her how to ride a motorcycle.
So we're outside. Now we're a new day, right? Or same day. I don't know.
No, that's what they were driving to when they saw the cliff.
Okay.
Scenario. They're going to this flat place.
Got it. Where the sun is kind of out a little bit and they're outside. Right. And yeah, so Jacob's going over the basics of motorcycle, clutch, gas, gears, blah, blah, blah.
Slowly release that clutch. Yeah.
Yep. And then she's like, starts going. We get a flash of Edward, right?
Stop.
Which would scare the shit out of me too. But
sure.
She stalls out, but then she's like, no, I'm going again. And she goes again and just, actually for a newbie, she's doing pretty good. It's actually
She's doing bad. She's doing really bad.
Oh, what do you mean? She gets going.
I don't know, man. She's all wobbly. She's losing control. She's not in control of the bike.
Well, hold on. She's losing control because Edward keeps popping up as she's cruising down the road. Like for someone who's just literally learning how to ride a motorcycle with a clutch, she takes off and just cruising down the road, and he just keeps popping up, distracting her. He's actually the one who caused her to cause the accident.
Well, but part of being a responsible motorcycle driver is not paying attention to the stupid Edward ghosts.
True.
Like, that's what you should be doing, is ignoring them. And
second thing about being a responsible motorcycle rider is wearing a fucking helmet yet again, which I hate it because all this does is leads to Jacob taking his shirt off, basically.
Yeah. Jacob goes, hit the brake, which she does, and immediately flips the bike. And she like slams into this rock. Like she should have got mangled on it. Like it's a boulder. When I say a rock, I mean a boulder.
Yeah, it's
like
pretty good size.
Like a 600-pound rock in front of her.
Right? Yeah, it's big. She hits it. She should be in a coma. She's done.
Yeah. And she's like bleeding from her head.
Yep.
Her brain is bleeding.
Yes.
And she's like, I want to go again. And Jacob's like,
No.
And she's like, I'm sorry. And he's like, wait, you're apologizing for bleeding? She's like, yeah, guess I am. He's like, well, it's just blood. She's like, oh, yeah, all the vampires I usually have sex with are really hot on blood.
Yeah, they love the blood. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just blood, Bella. No big deal, says Jacob. And then he takes his shirt off, dabs at her head wound.
Fucking eye roll. Come on.
He's like, what are you staring at? She goes, well, you're sort of beautiful.
Oh, I didn't catch you said that. That makes sense later on.
How hard did you hit your head?
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Man,
he's like, what? He looks at her like, what? How hard did you hit your head? And she goes, I don't know. And then they just ignore it at school lunch the next day.
The end.
End scene. You're like, oh, her brain is scrambled, right?
Probably should be. I don't know. She's probably done. So they're at school, cafeteria next day. She joins her friends at the table there, human friends. They're talking about missing people. So there's more people. They think it's a bear. They think it's something else.
This is big. This is the first time that she's back in the mix. So she's been sitting at the empty Cullen table for a while now.
Yes, because she's been depressed because she got broken up with, and everyone's like, okay, whatever, get over it.
But now she kind of loves Jacob, and so she's like, I'm gonna go join my friends again. They're talking about a thing I can contribute to.
Yes, he's been she's been distracted by Jacob in the building of the motorcycle,
right? Exactly.
Which is healthy. You move on. You know, build a new relationship.
Right. And then apparently, Bella gives the news to the group here. 5 hikers have been killed by some bear, and they haven't found the bear, because she's privy to all this extra information as the son of the daughter of the sheriff, whatever situation.
Right. Yep.
And then we get the guy here who is,
I don't know, but it doesn't matter. I
have no idea what his name is. Who cares?
Matter.
He's the annoying friend.
Yes.
He's like, so Bella's finally back, and then he's like, want to go see a movie? Like, oh, you're back after you tried to kill yourself like several times because of your last boyfriend, but like, we should go out though.
High school, am I right? That's what you do, right? You move in.
And she goes, yeah. And then they're like, let's go see Love Spelled Backwards is Love, which is not a movie.
No, not a real movie. But if it was, we would do
writers here trying to pick on movies, right?
Yeah, that's funny.
And then she goes, "What about Face Punch?"
I love how a bad teen romance movie is trying to make fun of
bad teen romance movies.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of funny.
It would be if it were better.
Yeah, but I guess if you make almost $1 billion from one movie, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, you did a good job. No one cares.
So it doesn't matter.
Right. And so then, so she just Face Punch instead, which sounds like a hilarious movie.
Which is also a big violent movie, which our boy here is not a big fan of. He likes the rom-coms. He's into the romance movies. Yeah. He's not into the violent movies. So she's like, how about Face Punch? Let's invite everyone else. And he's like, ooh, burn. I wanted just you and I to go.
Yep.
Yikes.
We should get a bunch of people together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not good for him.
It's perfect. Guns, adrenaline. It's my thing, right?
Yep. So then we cut to the theater. Jacob and Guy are standing outside, and Jacob's like, Face Punch, huh? Interesting choice for a movie. And the guy's like, well,
Are you even old enough to see this movie?
Right.
Kind of a great line. Good burn, because he is 16. You need to be at least. And
then he's got a good comeback. Well, Bella's buying my ticket. So then in the theater, she sits right between the two of them because of course she does. Obviously. And the camera not subtly focuses on their outstretched hands that are sitting next to her. And the whole time the movie is like doing Wilhelm screams and women screaming.
Love it.
Guns being shot. Yeah.
Then the tagline from the movie, let's do this.
Do an actual Wilhelm scream there, maybe.
I will. Yeah, definitely. And then, so I was like, this movie actually sounds pretty awesome. Face Punch.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'd also be pretty annoyed if there was two people sitting next to me who were taking up both my armrests. Like,
yes, Sam.
That's pretty.
If I were Kristen Stewart sized, I don't know if I would feel that. I'm large sized, and maybe that's largest of me. I don't think size matters in this situation. I think just having the respect to give someone their own arm. Agree. You're right. I think if you're right-handed, you get the right one because we're all right-handed. So 90% of the population is. You drink.
Right. So you go right-handed and you get the occasional lefty, and it's like, okay.
Is it really 90%, or do you just make that up?
I made that up.
I wonder.
1 out of 10 people are left-handed. So sounds about right.
It's like 30-70.
I don't know. It's the devil's hand, as we all know. So.
Oh my God. Yeah. Shout out to all our lefty listeners.
Yeah.
I know there's at least a couple out there. I'm so sorry for Russ's behavior.
All right. So awkward moment in the movie theater. And then so they're watching Face Punch. It's getting aggressive. Let's do this. And then Human Dude is getting.
I think I'm going to throw up.
And he leaves. And then movie's over, I guess. And then they come out and.
I don't think the movie's over. I think Bella and Jacob follow him out early. Like, I think they leave early and they're like,
oh, do they?
Well, because I think they feel bad. I don't know. I think they're like trying to make him feel better or something. Like, oh, I should go check on him. Jacob, come with me too. And he's like, wow, what a marshmallow.
Great line.
Whoa. We have nothing against Veronica Mars fans here.
What a great dig here. What a marshmallow.
We're pro marshmallow in this household. And he's like, well, you should wait for a real man who likes gore, violence. And also they're holding hands now all of a sudden.
Well, there's an awkward hand grab moment. Jacob goes for the hand and
she's in on it for a second.
Kind of, sort of, but yes.
Well, that's why it's extra bad for Jacob, right? Because he's like, wait a second, I thought we were in on this. Can I not hold your hand? Which is also a weird thing to say because of course you can't. You're not dating. It's like, I don't know.
Right.
The whole scene's weird. I hate
this
scene.
It's just garbage. It's garbage. I mean, it is. Well, it feels like what high school kids go through, I guess, or do, or something. Maybe. I don't know. Like,
I don't think so, dude. I don't know.
They loved it. They ate it up. $100 billion worth. They ate it up. This one movie. So
yeah, maybe in 2009. I don't know. I was in high school in 2006 still, so it wasn't that different, right?
It's never different. It's all the same. It's all the same.
I guess so.
People are fucking awkward at each other. That's all.
But then her response, where she's like, "Well," he's like, "What? I can't hold your hand." She goes, "Of course you can." You're like, "Wait, what?"
Then why? What do you?
And then she's like, I think holding hands means something different to you than me." And I'm like, Bella, I am not on the same page anymore either. I'm confused too.
She's actually
a lot of mixed signals here. A lot of mixed signals.
And she's flipping sides here. She needs to figure out the fuck she wants. It's kind of irritating.
And Jacob's like, "Well, you like me, right? And you told me I was beautiful." And she's like, "Jacob, don't do this." And he goes, "Why not?" She goes, "You're about to ruin everything, and I need you." It's all about Bella. It's always about Bella. He
Ugh.
goes, well, I've got loads of time. I'm not going to give up. And she goes, I don't want you to. She's like, I know I'm being selfish and I'm not like a car you can fix. I'm never going to run right. It's not fair to you. And he's like, is it because of me? Is it because of him? And she's like, yeah, of course, Edward. She's like, I know what he did to you. I'd never do that to you. I'd never hurt you. I promise I'll never let you down. And then she cries.
You're all in. I didn't want to interrupt you there. You're all in.
Thank you. Yeah, well, because I know you don't care about this scene.
I know
it means a lot to us, Russ. Us feelings, people.
It's just really bad. It's just really bad.
It's bad.
It's really bad. It just feels like a SNL skit where like they're over the top, like, no, yes. I'll tell you, he doesn't love you. You know, I don't know. I'm waiting for like the punchline to come. It never does. Oh, the end. I guess the very end of this movie is a punchline. And then dude comes back from the bathroom. He's, you know, not looking too good.
Well, I need to go home.
Yeah. Guess I need to go home. And that's because I didn't feel well before the movie.
Shit my britches.
And then I missed like the whole, he's like, yeah, I'm not feeling too good. I guess I'm sick. And Jacob's always out of nowhere. He's like, yeah, you got sick. Maybe you should go to the hospital. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. He's like, what's your problem? He's like, you're my problem. You sick. You should go to the hospital. Maybe I should put you there.
I was like, wow, this escalated real quick. Like,
well, yeah. What? And that's the premise of the scene because Bella's like, Jacob, what's going on? You're feeling really hot. And he's like, yeah, I'm hot right now. I don't know what's happening to me. I have to go. And then he like storms off.
I wish he just said it like that. I'm hot. I don't know what's happening. I have to go. Actually,
I'm really hot. Yeah.
Actually, he does say it just like that.
He does say it just like that. And I don't know what's happening to me.
And just storms off with his long hair.
And then that's probably a good place to leave our listeners, right? We're going to have a little cliffhanger.
Yeah, well, we'd like to call it cliffhanger or like a nothing happened hanger, which will happen at the end of this movie.
Yeah. Unless you know what happens to Jacob, which if you're a fan, you know.
Spoilers, he might or may not get his haircut. We don't know. Is he going to feel better? Is he going to cool down? Don't know. Probably not.
TBD.
Yikes. Is human dude there going to be a factor anywhere?
Yep. Does Edward come back? Is Edward in this movie at all anymore?
Yeah. I don't know. Won't
know until part 2, right?
So yeah, thanks for listening. We'll be back on Thursday with part 2. But in the meantime, you can follow us on Instagram at It's This Meets That. We're also at TMT Pod on Twitter.
Sound more bored.
Yeah. And you can subscribe to us wherever you listen to us.
Yeah, we're anywhere. We're everywhere.
Watching this movie and then talking through the first half of it has melted my brain. Holy shit.
Yeah, just part 1.
Oh, boy.
While you're subscribing, wherever you listen to podcasts, you can also write us a review. Probably some of those places don't allow that, but what you should do is make an Apple account. And then go download Apple Podcasts. You can download it on Android. Also, write a review there because Apple Podcasts is really what matters. As we all know, the algorithms are the new gods.
Yes. Those are our new Volturi.
We're all slaves to the algorithm.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah. So write us a review there. 5 stars would be nice if you could. If you like the podcast. If you don't, while you're listening, go stop listening. If you hate us. Otherwise, you can send us an email at itsthismeetsthat@gmail.com. We'll read them in trailer trash like we always do. Yeah, or you can find our whole back catalog at our website that Russ made, itsthismeetsthat.com.